In this video, I will analyze the top 24 coins on CoinMarketCap, so I hope you enjoy. First, of course, we have Bitcoin, and I believe Bitcoin is now in a fourth wave move to the downside, and this is only the fourth wave of this main third wave, but it could also be the case that the third wave is still going, and maybe the fourth wave will still happen at some point, but only after the third wave finishes, because right now, after we hit this low right here in the second wave, maybe you could say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup, and we are still to get a fifth wave for the third wave move to the upside before we get a real correction. Now, of course, this does not have to happen. Maybe this was the third wave, maybe this is the fourth wave, and we are still to get a fifth wave somewhere around here, which should, in my opinion, go above 100k. And either way, as long as support levels are being respected, I think we'll do that. And also one more thing, I don't want to be bearish, but I think Bitcoin might get another low in the fourth wave right here to hit the 50% extension. Now, like I said, this does not need to happen, but it could happen because we only touched the 0.382 extension right here and not the 50% extension. So there is a chance that we might get another low right here. But I still expect Bitcoin to top somewhere around September to October of 2025, and I expect it to top somewhere between the 2.618 2N-based Fibonacci extension at 189k and maybe even the 3.618 at 255k. And in my opinion, it could even go to the 4.618 because, as you can see, in the previous cycle we got to the 3.618. In the cycle before that we got above the 4.618, and I think in the previous cycle we would have gone to the 4.618, but we didn't because of the pandemic low right here. So who's to say that we were not supposed to go there, you know? And if that's the case, if we were supposed to go to the 4.618, maybe in this cycle we'll go to the 3.618 because, you know, diminishing returns. And also, why am I saying October of 2025? Well, if you check out the first cycle, well, the 2014 cycle that started in 2014 and ended in 2017, you'll see that from this top right here to this top right here, it took about 1,481 days. And if you take this top right here and the 2021 high, you get pretty much the exact same number of 1,400 days. And if we want to repeat that, if we put this at the 2021 high, we'll see that that tells us that the all-time high might be hit by October of 2025. Now, of course, this does not have to repeat itself, but if you look at the Bitcoin monthly returns, and if you check out the halving years, as you can see, in 2024, nothing really happened. Sure, we closed a few green months, but these percentages were nothing too crazy. And same thing happened in 2020, but in 2020, the percentages were a lot better, but I think this happened because of the pandemic that we got the previous month, so, you know. And I don't know if you can notice, but in 2020, the most gains that we got were at the end of the year in Q4. So in Q4, it went up about 168%. And if you check out the previous halving year, as you can see, in 2016, in Q4, it went up 58%. So who is to say that in this halving year, we will not go up another at least 50%? And also, while I think it will top in October of 2025, well, if you look at the post-halving years, for example, 2017, as you can see, here it went up 23%, 32%, 52%. These percentages are a lot better than the halving years. And look at 2021 as well. 14%, 36%, 29%, a lot better than what happened in the previous year. Now, of course, in the previous year, it still went up a lot, but most people that got into crypto in 2021, so you know what I'm talking about. So who's to say that this will not repeat itself? If that's the case, then if we look at what happened in the previous Septembers and Augusts, we'll see that Bitcoin has never really done that well in September or August, and this probably means that Bitcoin will continue going sideways, or maybe will even hit the 50% extension right here at 44k before we continue going up. And also, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are very close to 60%, and I believe that's when the Bitcoin dominance will top, and then we'll get an altcoin season. And I believe if Bitcoin goes sideways for another month or two, that will make the Bitcoin dominance go to like 60%, and then when Bitcoin pumps in October and November, because as you can see in the previous halving years and pretty much almost all of the years, Q4 seems to be a very good quarter for Bitcoin. So I believe that's when Bitcoin will pump, and not only will Bitcoin pump, but at that point, Bitcoin dominance will start going down, and that means we'll get an altcoin season. So it should start somewhere between October and November. If that does not happen, then maybe this is a left translated peak because, you know, we don't have that much time left of the cycle. But right now, yeah, I'm expecting this to happen. So next we have Ethereum, and Ethereum I believe is still in a third wave move to the upside, and this whole move right here was just a 1-2 setup of this move, and as you can see, the move did not get invalidated. It almost got invalidated right here, but as you can see, it did not go below this low right here, which means this is still valid, and if that's the case, then we can expect a third wave move to the upside of this third wave right here to get somewhere between, let's say, 6K and 7.3K, something like that. And I expect Ethereum to top somewhere between, let's say, 13K and 18K if things are more bullish. And do not forget, now we have the Ethereum ETFs, which means that maybe we'll get something more bullish in this cycle than what we got in the previous cycle. I mean, as you can see, in the previous cycle, we almost got to the 3.618 extension, but I mean, not really, we were kind of $500 shy, so, you know, but I think this only happened because of the pandemic that we got right here. So I think the price would have gone to the 3.618, and I think we could have been able to hit 5.5K in the previous cycle if it weren't for the pandemic. So right now we have the ETFs, like I said, and we did not have a pandemic, so maybe we'll actually get to the 3.618. Now, of course, maybe you could say that we'll not copy what happened here, and we'll only go to the 2.618, or maybe not even the 2.618. And is that a bad thing? I mean, I don't think so. 13K, it's still a good target zone, so, you know. Also, if we do get an altcoin season very soon, Ethereum will pretty much explode as well. And, I mean, right now, we need to get a third wave move to the upside, and third waves are usually the most impulsive, so getting an altcoin season in like 1 to 2 months would be perfect for Ethereum to go in the third wave up right here and maybe even finish the main third wave right here. Next we have Binance Coin, and I do not have the wave count for this, but things are looking kind of bullish, but you have to look at the bull market support band on this. So as you can see, Binance Coin kept going up even when Bitcoin went down. Well, not really, I mean, it went down with Bitcoin, but Binance Coin is up like 300% from its bear market low, and its market cap right now, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's at a market cap of 78 billion, so it makes you wonder if we'll get a correction before we actually do something. And if you look at the bull market support band, I mean, we just had the red line go above the green line, and the green line does not really look like it wants to go above the red line, which means that this dump that's happening right now might continue until the green line goes above the red line. But if that happens, if the green line goes above the red line, then I think Binance Coin has a chance to go to at least the 2.618 in this cycle at $2,000, and maybe even the 3.618 if things are more bullish. Oh, and before I continue, I want you to look at the altcoin season index. So as you can see right now, it's not altcoin season, it's at 22, and it's pretty much Bitcoin season right now, which leads me to believe again that we'll get an altcoin season very, very soon after Bitcoin dominance stops. Anyways, let's continue with Solana. And Solana is also looking quite good, but I think Solana is close to bottoming in the fourth wave right here, and as you can see, the green line looks like it wants to go above the red line, which is a good sign, because whenever that happened, from, for example here, when the green line went above the red line, yes, the price did not really do anything. I mean, sure, it went up a lot and then it dumped, but it did not do anything for some time. But then a few months later, it just pumped and the green line stayed above the red line. Until here, when we started going to the downside, and this marked the top for the third wave right here, when the red line went above the green line again. So if the green line goes above the red line on the Solana chart, I think the fourth wave will be in. I think that will confirm it, pretty much. And if that's the case, then the fifth wave could easily go to the 2.618 extension at $687, and maybe even the 3.618 extension at $947. Now, if things are more bullish, I mean, the fifth wave could always go to the 4.618 and get to like $1,200, but you know, you have to be careful because Solana has already gone up a lot. I mean, it went up from $8 to about $213. So it really makes you wonder if Solana will go up a lot in the altcoin season, or if Solana is not going to do anything in the altcoin season. So maybe be careful. Next, we have XRP, and XRP is not really doing anything right now, so you know. But I want to look at the monthly chart. Well, actually no, the weekly. And as you can see on the weekly RSI, the RSI went to levels that it did not really go to before. I mean, it only went to these RSI levels on the weekly like 6 times in its previous cycles, and each time it went to these levels, the price then pumped to the upside. But now, I mean, we went to these lows and the price did not really do anything. I mean, sure, it went from 38 cents to 65 cents, but that's not really enough. And if you look at the bull market support band, it's also not looking too good. I mean, well, what is this mess, you know? So until XRP gets above the 50% extension of the previous all-time high, yeah, you cannot be bullish on this chart because it's not really doing anything. Next we have Toncoin, and Toncoin is still looking good, but you have to be very careful with this because, as you can see, we just had the red line go above the green line like last month. And this probably means that we will get another low in the fourth wave move down right here. And if the price somehow goes to like $3, then do not be surprised because it can happen, you know? Now, it's not guaranteed to happen, but, you know, if you look at the bull market support band, I mean, it never lies. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, we might do something like we did over here. So as you can see here, the red line went above the green line and nothing really happened. So that could always happen again. I mean, I don't see why it would not happen again. And I mean, you can count this as a fourth wave move to the downside. Maybe as a flat structure or something like that. And we should get a fifth wave right now of the third wave right here. And I mean, I expect this cycle to top somewhere between, let's say, $30 and $50, probably not more, because the Toncoin market cap is already at $16 billion. So you cannot expect it to go up forever, you know? So you have to be careful with this, but I still think there are some gains left on the table. Next is Dogecoin, and Dogecoin is another coin that is in a second wave move down. And don't you get it by now? I mean, most coins are in a second wave move correction, and the Bitcoin dominance chart is close to topping. So what does that mean? I mean, doesn't it mean that we'll get a third wave and that's when the Bitcoin dominance will start dropping? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but right now that seems very, very reasonable to say. So, you know, Bitcoin, I think, bottomed in the second wave move down right here. Now, I cannot confirm that, so we might get another low, which would not be bearish, but do not forget the invalidation zone is at about, let's say, 5 cents. So if we get below 5 cents, then it's pretty much over for the 1-2 setup that we have on the chart. And I don't think Dogecoin will have a bull market if it fails this move, but right now I see no reason to think that. So, you know, I expect the third wave to get somewhere between 45 cents and 69 cents. And I expect Dogecoin to top somewhere between the 1.618 extension at $1.23 and maybe even the 2.618 at $2. So yeah, I still think Dogecoin has a long way to go until it tops. Next we have Cardano, and I've made way too many videos about this coin, so if you want a more in-depth analysis, maybe check out my previous videos. Cardano is also in a second wave move down, but Cardano, I mean, as you can see, the bull market support band looks very, very good right now. And it looks like the green line is about to go above the red line. I mean, look at how close they are to each other. It's inevitable that it will happen. And when that happens, then I think that will mark the bottom of the second wave right here. And just like Dogecoin and some other altcoins as well, ADA will go in the third wave move to the upside, and I expect the third wave to get to at least the 100% extension of the previous all-time high and get to like $3 in the next, let's say, 6 months before getting a fourth and then a fifth wave to finish the cycle somewhere between $5 and $8. Next we have Tron, and Tron is also looking quite good. It keeps going up, which is a good thing, and as you can see, the green line just went above the red line, which might be a sign that this bottom right here is actually in. Now this is a questionable chart because it's weird that it keeps going up, and I mean in the bear market it only went down like 75%, and compared to some other altcoins that's not really a lot, so you know, be careful with this, but I still think Tron has the potential to go up another 5 to 10x from where it's at right now. And maybe it will get like $1 before, you know, going in the bear market. So we'll see what happens with this. Next we have AVAX, and what do you know? AVAX is also in a second wave move down, and the bull market support band looks very similar to the one of Cardano. So, you know, keep that in mind. And it's pretty much the same as Cardano. I still think AVAX will go in a third wave move up, and in my opinion, it is possible that it gets to the 1.618 extension at $250, or maybe even the 2.618, but that's a bit questionable. Let's first see if we can actually go in the third wave right here. Next is Shiba Inu, and Shiba Inu is currently in a fourth wave move down, unlike some other altcoins that are still in the second wave, and I still think Shiba Inu has a long way to go until it tops, so there is still, in my opinion, a 10x potential for this coin if it does not invalidate the structure that it has right here. So if it goes below this low right here, it's going to be invalidated and it's not going to matter anymore, and that will mark the top. So this will most likely be the top right here. But if we do go in a fifth wave move up, then theoretically it could get to the 1.618 at this number right here, and maybe even the 2.618 at that number right there. And again, this is another altcoin that has been dumping for the past, let's say, 5 months. And, you know, what does this say about the Bitcoin dominance chart? I mean, I will let you figure that out. Next, we have Bitcoin Cash, and nobody really cares. And then we have Polkadot, and Polkadot is unfortunately not looking too good. It invalidated the first wave move to the upside right here, and it got exactly to that low, well, almost to that low. And I mean, maybe you could say that it did not invalidate it, but I mean, look at this. It's pretty much invalidated, and it almost went to this low right here, which is not looking too good because Polkadot almost put in another all-time low, and that's not good. So I cannot predict what will happen with this chart. It can still go up, of course, but I mean, this is very questionable, so we'll see what happens. If it does manage to get above the previous all-time high at $55 somehow, then maybe we'll get to the 1.618 at $87, but the 2.618 right now seems very unlikely, but you know, it could happen, I guess. Then we have Chainlink, and what do you know? Chainlink is also in a second wave move down, just like most altcoins that I have talked about, and yeah, pretty much the same thing again. And if you look at the bull market support band, it looks pretty much the same as the other altcoins, which is a good thing. And I expect Chainlink to get somewhere, I mean, it could get to the 4.618 in this cycle because, as you can see, in the previous cycle we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, which could be marked as a first wave move up, and the bear market was an ABC structure, which is a second wave move down, and this cycle could be the third wave up, which means it could theoretically get to the 4.618 because the third wave move up is always more impulsive than the first one. So keep that in mind. I mean, it does not have to happen, but right now Chainlink is looking very good and it's very impulsive, so I see no reason why it would not happen, honestly. So we'll see what happens. Next we have Leo, and I mean, does anybody care about this coin? Does anybody hold this coin? Please let me know. Then we have Litecoin, and unfortunately in the previous cycle Litecoin did not really do that well. I mean, sure, it got above the previous all-time high right here, but it only went to like, I mean, it went from $380 to $415, which is not a lot. So if we repeat that, I mean, we could theoretically go to this all-time high right here and maybe touch the 100% extension that I don't have on the chart. I mean, that is theoretically possible, but right now that's hopium because this chart is not really looking too great, and maybe we're forming some kind of ABCDE structure. and maybe will not be able to go above the previous all-time high. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens with this. But I still think that if the other altcoins will be pumping, Litecoin will most likely be pumping as well. And if that happens, then yeah, maybe we'll get to $300 or so, but we'll see. Next, we have Near Protocol, and Near Protocol is also in a second wave move down. And yeah, I mean, what can I say about this? It went to the 0.382 extension in the first wave and it got rejected by it. And yeah, that confirmed that the first wave high is in. Now, I mean, the second wave went below the 618, but it did not touch the 0.786 level. So maybe we'll go there. Maybe we'll touch the $2.50 level before we continue in the third wave. I mean, if Bitcoin dominance continues going up, then I think that will happen. So it does not have to happen. Theoretically, we have an ABC on the structure, but you never know. I mean, we can always get another low before we go in the third wave. Now, if we do go in the third wave, I think there's a potential for the price to touch maybe the 1.618 extension at $33, and Mir could theoretically top somewhere between $33 and maybe even $74 in the cycle. So we'll see what happens. Next, we have Polygon MATIC, and MATIC is not looking good. It's not looking good at all. I mean, you could say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, but that's pretty much a hopium count right now because, you know, if this right here is a fourth wave move down, then we need another low right here that goes below this low right here, and that means we need a new bear market low, which in my opinion is very likely to happen. And it will not be bearish, it will actually be bullish. If that does not happen, then I don't know. I mean, this structure will turn into a very, very difficult structure to understand because it's very, very questionable. If we do get another low, then maybe we'll manage to get to like the 1.618 in the fifth wave right here. But if we do not get another low, then, you know, it's going to be very, very questionable. Now, of course, you could always say that maybe this right here was the fourth wave and right now we're in a 1-2 setup of the fifth wave, but yeah, I'm not seeing that right now. If that's the case, then we should pump very, very soon. So either way, something needs to happen. And it needs to happen very, very soon if we want to actually do something in this cycle. So yeah. Next we have Caspa, and you have to be very careful with this chart because it has only gone up in its lifetime, which makes me wonder if it's going to continue going up or if we're going to get a correction because, I mean, we never had a real correction. I mean, this right here was a 50% correction. This right here was another like 50% correction, but you know, we never really had that crazy correction. So maybe we'll do that. Now, of course, maybe we won't and maybe we'll continue going up. I mean, that could also be the case because the green line of the bull market support band got above the red line. So maybe that's a sign that the fourth wave is actually in. So, you know, but be careful because Caspa already has a market cap of $4 billion. So, of course, it could theoretically do another 10x from here, and that would only put it at a market cap of like 40 billion, which would not be too much, you know. Theoretically, we could do another 10x, but be careful because, like I said, it has only gone up. Now, me personally, I could see it go to like a market cap of maybe 40 to even $60 billion. So, I still think there is potential, but be careful. Next we have Uniswap, and Uniswap, I mean, you can say that it's also in a 1-2 setup, but it's very questionable because even if it is in a 1-2 setup, in the previous cycle we did not really manage to form a 5-wave move to the upside, which means that even if this is a 1-2 setup, it will not be a 1-2 setup of a main third wave, and I mean, it's utterly bearish as long as we hold support levels, but this makes me wonder if we will actually manage to get above the previous high right here, or, you know, if things will be more bearish. Now, support levels have been respected, which is good, and Uniswap, I mean, it went up like 400% from its bear market low, so I still think Uniswap has potential to do another like maybe 10 to 15x from where it's at right now, and that would put the price somewhere between $45 and let's say like $70. So theoretically it can happen. Is it going to happen? I don't know. If we get an altcoin season, then Uniswap will most likely pump as well, so we have to see what happens. Like I said, like 500 times already in this video. Next we have ICP, and I've already made a bunch of ICP videos, so if you want a more in-depth analysis, maybe check them out. ICP is also in a 1-2 setup, and it looks like it's ready to go in a third wave move to the upside. And I think ICP has the potential to go above this high right here of $86 in this cycle. And maybe we'll even get to the 1.618 if things are more bullish. Now, of course, this structure could fail at any minute, but as you can see, I have a trend line on the chart, and it was respected when we dumped right here. So I had this trend line before this dump right here happened, and as you can see, it respected it. So maybe we'll continue respecting it. And if that's the case, then I don't see ICP getting another low in the second wave move down. But I do see it go sideways for another month if we want Bitcoin dominance to top. So yeah, be careful, but also don't be bearish because it's holding support levels. Then we have PEPE, and PEPE is looking good, I guess, but don't forget this is a meme coin, and the red line just got above the green line, which is not a good sign, and maybe this means that we will get a deeper correction because, I mean, right now we did not go down that much. We went down like, well, actually we went down 66%, which is a lot, but when you look at it from this perspective, I mean, it does not really look like a lot. So maybe we'll get another low before we continue, but even then, I still see PEPE do another 5 to maybe 10x from where it's at right now. But again, this is a meme coin, be very careful. Next we have Aptos, and I don't know, man, I don't really like how this chart looks. Me personally, I would not invest into this, but you do what you want. I mean, sure, we did not put in another bear market low, which is good, but we pretty much invalidated the 1-2 setup that we had right here, so I don't know, this is questionable, and I will have to keep an eye on this chart. And then we have Ethereum Classic, which, I mean, hit a new all-time high in the previous cycle, and that all-time high was pretty much a 3x from this all-time high, so maybe we'll do a 3x in this cycle as well. And if that's the case, I mean, we could get like $500, but, you know, I mean, that's a very, very OPM scenario. And right now, it looks like Ethereum Classic is also in a 1-2 setup, which is good, and if that's the case, then I could see the third wave go to like $80 before getting a fourth wave and a fifth wave, but I don't know if we will manage to get above this high right here. So yeah, this is very, very questionable, but it looks good. It held support levels, which is good, and I'm expecting the price to go higher if it keeps respecting the support levels that I don't have on the chart. But anyways, that's all I have for today. I'm sorry if this video is a little bit long, but you know, I had to say what I had to say. And if you enjoyed this video, maybe check out the new YouTube memberships that we have. There are a bunch of things you get if you are a member, so maybe check that out. And also check out our Patreon for some bonus content. And if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.